I'm actually in a good filming zone right now. Alright, you about to take me out of good filming zone right now. I'm not your fucking children. Don't hush me. Don't act like I'm being a burden to you, dude. Let's go.
Hey guys, we are back with another video in our relationship series during Vlogmas.
Yes, you guys been asking for more relationship videos, so we are bringing you yet another installment in our relationship series today.
If you guys have missed any of the videos during Vlogmas, the entire playlist will be linked up here, so make sure you go ahead and click that card and check it out. We'll also have all of our relationship videos that have played so far down below in the description box.
So today, guys, we're talking about how this one over here gets on my freaking nerves and how I channel all those emotions and be able to express them. But before we do that, and I tell you all about that stuff, I need you guys to do me a favor. Please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can know when the next part of this series is coming for you guys. So with that being said, let's talk about how this one over here gets on my mental and how I'm able to express that without being arrested.
This video is actually going to be about having healthy arguments, how to have healthy arguments and how to get through those arguments and still be together afterwards. The video is going to be a combination of tips and tricks that we've learned over the years. We have been married now for over 6 years, so a combination of tips and tricks that we've learned over the years. And don't forget that we're not relationship counselors, so what we say may not work in all cases, but we're just letting you know what seems to work for us.
The first thing that we have recognized and really come to understand, and I think it's the first part of a healthy relationship and a healthy argument, is understand that disagreements are going to happen. You are two different people. You think entirely, in most cases, entirely two different ways. So disagreements are going to happen. How you handle those disagreements are the very start of healthy arguments.
And just piggybacking off of that, not only will disagreements happen, but all disagreements are not negative. If you stop looking at the word disagreement as a negative word, I think that also helps change your outlook on the entire conversation. Because I know most people say, oh, we had a disagreement and it's frowned upon, looked at as a bad thing. I feel like if you're not having disagreements, like something's wrong. You are not going to agree on everything all the time. You're not going to always get along. You are not going to just always see eye to eye. It just happens.
Yeah, you don't want a lot of yes men. At least for me, I don't want a lot of yes men in my circle. My circle, as far as my friends go, I want people who gonna call me out on my BS and tell me when they see something differently. And it should be the same thing within your marriage or your relationship. You should be able to express something to your partner, and if they say, I don't really think that's the case, they should be able to freely express that to you without it being a problem, and you being able to be like, oh, that should be the starting point of the conversation. And I say conversation because that's all a disagreement is. It turns into a conversation, a dialogue in which both partners are able to express why they feel that way about that situation.
The next tip is understanding that it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. I feel like that's a super cliche saying, but it rings true all the time. You could say the same thing two totally different ways and people can take it two totally different ways because of your tone of voice, if there's any sarcasm dripping in your voice, even just the words that you use. You have to really be careful with that, especially with your partner, because you never want to offend when you don't mean to. You never want to offend at all, but really when you don't mean to.
Yeah, I mean, that is very huge, especially with the male ego. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Men are sensitive. No matter how much we don't want to admit that we're sensitive, we're very sensitive creatures. And if you say something the wrong way, even if you meant it in a completely different way, maybe it was meant to be soft or whatever, but if you don't say it softly, it is going to rub that man or female the wrong way. Saying something like, you could say something like, I told you to do that, and but last time I asked you to do this and you didn't, are two entirely different things. You're saying the same thing, but you're saying it in a completely different way. And that goes a really long way.
Even if you're saying the same words, your tone of voice and your inflection could mean something different. So I could be like, you could say something to me and I could say, well, why do you feel that way? Or I could say, well, why do you feel that way? Like, you know what I mean? Like that means two totally different things. So you just have to keep that in mind, especially if you are in a disagreement, because one small thing could be taken another way and the entire thing could be blown out of proportion.
Next tidbit of advice that I would give is to not let things build up. Last thing you want to do is be having a disagreement or an argument with somebody with something that's been festering or building inside of you that you've been wanting to say for 2 or 3 weeks now, or at times even months, because that's how small disagreements about maybe you didn't put the dishes away turn into I'm leaving and I'm never coming home again.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially when you are arguing about small things a lot, there is something underlying, some type of issue that's underlying that you all have not addressed. And that's the reason things like the dishes or anything small, that's the reason those small things become super significant, because there's an underlying issue that just has not been addressed.
And then you sit there and you like, we arguing about dishes, or we arguing about the kids not being put in the bathtub turned into this, and you wondering how the hell did I get here to there, and now that's the point y'all at because you did not address those small things. And the last thing you want to be is a nitpicker, but you have to understand that if it's important to you and you feel in some kind of way, you gotta get that stuff off your chest.
Next thing, you know your partner's hot buttons. You know what makes them angry. You know what makes them tick. Do not push those buttons in the middle of the argument or disagreement or whatever you want to call it. That just makes things completely worse. If you know your partner hates to be called crazy, do not call them crazy while y'all sitting there arguing. Just don't do it.
End up like Marlon Wayans. You call me crazy? Calling me crazy? That's it. You don't remember? Okay.
I remember.
Anyway, yeah, don't push your partner's hot buttons. You do not want to be sitting in the argument and you say something that happened 2-3 years ago and now y'all arguing about something that's happened way back in the past, and you again worrying, how the hell did we get here? Just discuss the topic at hand. If you upset or you're bothered by something, express that. Don't try to prick and prod at your partner just to get a reaction out of them, because in the end, you're probably not going to get the reaction that you want, and you're definitely not going to get the results that you're looking for out of that disagreement. Next, and I would deem probably the most important thing when it comes to healthy disagreements and arguments, is not speaking out of a place of anger. You cannot come into an argument heated to the point where you like, I just want to hurt this person, because those words have long-term effects. And if you don't use your words properly, they hurt. Seriously, they hurt. If you come into an argument and you mad, that's probably the last place you want to have a disagreement. You want to come to an argument or a discussion from a place of calmness and, hey, I want you to understand what I'm trying to say right now.
Sometimes there are things that you say that you just honestly cannot come back from, whether you meant them or not. So I watch Paternity Court all the time. So mad. I watch Paternity Court all the time. Like I don't know why I'm addicted to Paternity Court, Couples Court, Divorce Court. I don't know. I'm just addicted to those shows. So I watch Paternity Court a lot, and one of the things that these women say all the time, or the men I should say, they come on and the judge is like, well, why do you have doubts? And the guy's like, well, she told me when we were arguing that this wasn't my child. And the judge says the most real thing, and she goes, once you ring that bell, you cannot unring it. So and the females are always like, well, I just said it because I was angry, or we were having an argument and I'm upset with him and I don't want to deal with him, so that's why I tell him that. And she tells them every single time, once you ring that bell, you can't unring it. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Some things that you say, you just cannot take back. Like you just can't say certain things. And again, it goes back to almost pushing their buttons. You know what hurts them, you know what's gonna hurt, and for you to dig your heels into someone at that moment when you're already having a disagreement, it's just really unhealthy.
Yeah, you can't come back from that. Honestly, there are certain things, again, like I talked about with the male ego, that we as people and with the woman ego. You just cannot forget. You talking about selfishly or purposely doing something to hurt somebody. That is at the all-time high, and people don't forget that stuff. They put it in a mental database. They might forgive, but they never forget.
Yeah, very true.
That is going to wrap up this relationship 101 from Mr. and Mrs. Bradley tonight. So with that being said, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button for this video, especially if you guys want to see us do more topics about relationship in the future. Let us know down below what kind of videos you would like to see us do. We definitely would love to give you more content like this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that as well. If you have any other topics that you want us to discuss, any that you want us to write down in our little notebook for future discussion, let us know down below in the comment section, and also let us know how you are loving Vlogmas. This is our first year doing Vlogmas, and honestly, we're having a ball interacting with you guys daily. It's really, really a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for your support.
Again, don't forget to hit that like button. Until the next time, it's them Bradleys checking out. Peace.